Imagine this. You are sitting with someone who speaks English naturally. They are not using difficult words. They are not showing off. They are not speaking like a professor. They are just talking. Simple sentences, clear ideas, easy rhythm, but somehow their English feels smooth, confident, alive. Then you try to answer. You know the word, you know the grammar. You have studied English for years. You have watched videos, memorized vocabulary, written notes, maybe even completed courses. But the moment you open your mouth, something happens. Your mind freezes. Your sentence breaks. You translate from your language. You stop in the middle. You start again. You feel pressure. You feel embarrassed. You think, why can I understand English, but I cannot speak it like this? Listen carefully, because this may change the way you learn English forever. Your English is not broken because you are not intelligent. Your English is not broken because you are too old. Your English is not broken because you were born in the wrong country. Your English is broken because you were trained the wrong way. You were taught to study English like a school subject, not use it like a living language. You were trained to collect words, memorize rules, pass tests, and avoid mistakes. But native speakers did not become fluent by studying grammar charts for 10 years. They became fluent because they heard patterns thousands of times, repeated them naturally, copied rhythm without fear, and used the language before they fully understood every rule. That is the secret method they usually do not teach you. You do not become fluent by learning more English first. You become fluent by training your mouth, ears, brain, and confidence to work together. You do not need more random vocabulary. You need automatic sentence patterns. You do not need perfect grammar before speaking. You need speaking rhythm. You do not need to translate every sentence. You need ready-made chunks that come out without thinking. You do not need to sound like a textbook. You need to sound like a real person. And here is the truth most learners do not want to hear. If you keep learning English the same way, your speaking will stay the same. Watching more lessons will not save you. Downloading more apps will not save you. Buying another notebook will not save you. You can study English for 5 more years and still freeze when someone asks you a simple question. Because fluency is not information. Fluency is training. In this lesson, I am going to give you a complete speaking reset. Not a magic trick, not fake motivation, not an overnight promise, but a practical method that can take your broken, slow, translated English and turn it into smoother, more natural, more native-like fluency in weeks if you actually practice it. You will learn why your English breaks, how native rhythm works, how to stop translating, how to build automatic speaking patterns, how to answer faster, how to sound more natural, and how to train every day without needing a partner. By the end, you will understand something powerful. Native fluency is not about knowing every word. Native fluency is about controlling the words you already know so well that they come out easily, clearly, and confidently. So if you are tired of starting sentences and stopping halfway, tired of understanding English but not speaking it, tired of sounding too basic, too slow, or too nervous, stay with me. This is not just another English lesson. This is your speaking reset. Chapter 1. Why your English sounds broken, even when you know the words. Let us begin with the real problem. Most English learners think their speaking is weak because they do not know enough words. They think, if I learn more vocabulary, I will become fluent. If I memorize more advanced words, I will sound native. If I study more grammar, my speaking will become clean. This sounds logical, but it is incomplete. In many cases, it is completely wrong. You probably already know enough English to speak much better than you do right now. You know thousands of words. You understand movies, videos, comments, conversations, and lessons. You can read English. You can write messages. You can understand when someone explains something slowly. But when it is your turn to speak, your brain behaves differently. The words are inside you, but they do not come out in the right order, at the right speed, with the right rhythm. This means your problem is not only knowledge, your problem is access. Think of your brain like a room full of tools. You have the tools, you have vocabulary, you have grammar, you have expressions, but the tools are scattered everywhere. When someone asks you a question, you run around the room looking for the right tool. You pick one word, then you search for a grammar rule, then you translate the sentence, then you check if it sounds correct, then you worry about pronunciation. By the time you are ready, the conversation has moved on. Native speakers do not speak this way. Fluent speakers do not build every sentence from zero. They use automatic patterns. They have ready-made pieces of language stored in their mind. When they want to say something, they do not think subject, verb, object, tense, preposition. They simply choose a pattern and fill it with meaning. For example, a learner may think, how do I say this sentence? Maybe, I am agree. No, I agree. Maybe I agree with you. Maybe I am agreed. The learner is thinking about grammar while speaking, but a fluent speaker has the chunk ready. I agree with you, but I think there is another side to it. That whole pattern comes out together. This is why your English can sound broken even when you know the words. You are using single words, but fluent speakers use word groups. You are building sentence by sentence, but fluent speakers speak in chunks. You are translating from your language, but fluent speakers think through English patterns. You are checking every sentence for mistakes, but fluent speakers are focused on meaning. Broken English is often not broken because of bad words. It is broken because of broken rhythm. You may say, yesterday I go market and buy some things, then my friend call me, and I tell him I am busy. People can understand you, but it does not sound natural. A smoother version would be, yesterday I went to the market to buy a few things, and while I was there, my friend called me, but I told him I was busy. Notice the difference. It is not only grammar, it is flow. The ideas connect. The time is clear. The sentence moves naturally, but here is the important part. You do not fix this by memorizing grammar rules in isolation. You fix it by hearing, repeating, and using natural patterns until they become automatic. You need to stop treating English like a puzzle and start treating it like music. When someone sings, they do not calculate every note. They feel the rhythm because they have practiced the song many times. Speaking is similar. English has rhythm. English has stress. English has common sentence shapes. If your rhythm is unnatural, your English will feel heavy, even if your grammar is acceptable. Many learners speak like this. I want to improve my English because I have problem in speaking, and I cannot express my thoughts properly. That is understandable, but it sounds stiff. A more natural way is, I want to improve my English because I struggle to express myself clearly when I speak. This sentence is not more difficult, it is just more natural. It uses a common chunk. I struggle to express myself clearly. If you memorize this as a chunk, you do not need to build it every time. This is the first secret. Stop learning only words. Start learning useful speaking blocks. Words are ingredients, chunks are meals. If you only collect ingredients, you still cannot eat. You need to know how they go together. Native speakers do not say, I made a decision after thinking deeply about all possible options. Sometimes they simply say, I thought it through and made a decision. They do not say, I am feeling very tired because I did not sleep enough last night. They say, I barely slept last night, so I am exhausted. Natural English is often shorter, clearer, and more direct. Another reason your English sounds broken is that you speak from fear. You are not only trying to communicate, you are trying to protect yourself from judgment. You think, what if I make a mistake? What if they laugh? What if my accent sounds bad? What if I forget a word? This fear creates tension in your body. Your throat tightens. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your mind slows down. Then you make even more mistakes, not because you do not know English, but because your nervous system is under pressure. Fluency needs relaxation, not laziness, but relaxation. When you are relaxed, your brain can access language faster. When you are tense, your brain becomes a security guard. It checks everything before letting it out. That is why you speak better alone than in front of people. Alone, you are not afraid. In conversation, you start performing. So the method begins with a new identity. You are not a student trying to produce perfect English. You are a speaker training your English reflex. That difference matters. A student waits until they are correct. A speaker improves by speaking. A student hides mistakes. A speaker uses mistakes as feedback. A student asks, "Is this sentence perfect?" A speaker asks, "Did I communicate clearly?" Your goal is not to impress native speakers. Your goal is to become understandable, natural, and confident. Native-like fluency does not mean copying someone's entire identity. It does not mean losing your accent completely. It does not mean speaking like a Hollywood actor. It means your English feels smooth, automatic, and natural enough that people focus on your message, not your struggle. To reach that level, you need to train the 4 parts of speaking. First, your ears must hear natural patterns. Second, your mouth must practice producing them. Third, your brain must store them as automatic chunks. Fourth, your confidence must allow them to come out without overthinking. Most learners train only the first part. They listen, they watch, they understand, but they do not train the mouth, the memory, and the confidence at the same level. This is why passive learning fails. You can watch 10,000 English videos and still speak badly if you never force your mouth to move. Listening is important, but listening alone does not create speaking. It gives you input, but output needs practice. You cannot learn swimming by watching swimming videos. You cannot build muscle by watching fitness videos. And you cannot become fluent by only watching English lessons. From today, stop asking, "How much English do I know?" Start asking, "How much English can I use automatically?" That question will expose the truth. You may know the phrase, "as far as I know," but can you use it instantly? You may know the word opportunity, but can you say, "I did not want to miss the opportunity," without pausing? You may know the grammar of past tense, but can you tell a story from yesterday smoothly for 2 minutes? You may understand conditionals, but can you say, "If I had known earlier, I would have handled it differently, without panic"? This is where the secret method begins. You must turn knowledge into reflex. A reflex does not need long thinking. When someone throws something toward your face, your hand moves automatically. Speaking fluency should become like that. When someone asks, "What do you think about this?" your mouth should have patterns ready. "I think it depends on the situation." "I see your point, but I look at it differently." "To be honest, I have mixed feelings about it." These are not difficult sentences, but if they are not trained, they will not come out quickly. Broken English becomes smoother when you stop chasing random advanced English and start mastering useful natural English. Do not rush to sound complicated. Complicated is not the same as fluent. Many learners destroy their speaking by trying to use words that do not fit. They say, "I am profoundly delighted to initiate this conversation," when a natural speaker would simply say, "I am really glad we are talking about this." Simple, natural English is stronger than forced advanced English. Your first step is to accept this hard truth. You do not need more English. You need better control of the English you already have. You need repetition. You need rhythm. You need chunks. You need output. You need pressure training. You need to stop hiding behind learning and start speaking every day. Because your English will not become fluent in your notebook. It will become fluent in your mouth. Chapter 2. The sound-first method that trains your brain like a native speaker. Before native speakers understand grammar, they understand sound. A child does not begin with grammar rules. A child hears the language again and again. The child hears tone, rhythm, stress, emotion, and repeated patterns. Long before the child can explain grammar, the child can feel when something sounds right. That feeling is one of the biggest missing pieces in adult English learning. Most learners learn English with their eyes first. They read words. They look at spellings. They memorize lists. They study written grammar. Then they try to speak. But English spelling is not always friendly. English writing and English sound are not the same. If you learn English mainly through your eyes, your pronunciation, rhythm, and listening speed may remain weak. You may know a word when you see it, but not recognize it when someone says it quickly. You may know how to write a sentence, but not know how it should sound in conversation. That is why the sound-first method is powerful. It means you train your ears before your logic. You listen to short, natural English again and again until the sound becomes familiar. You do not only ask, "What does this sentence mean?" You ask, "How does this sentence move? Which words are stressed? Which words become weak? Where does the voice rise? Where does it fall? Where does the speaker pause? What emotion is inside the sentence?" For example, take this sentence, "I do not know what you mean." In real speech, it may sound like, "I don't know what you mean." The words connect. The rhythm changes. The important words are know and mean. A learner may pronounce every word separately. "I do not know what you mean." That is correct, but it sounds robotic. Natural English often connects words. "I don't know what you mean." "What do you want to do?" "How did you find out?" "Could you help me with this?" These are not just sentences, they are sound patterns. If you want native-like fluency, you must train your ear to love patterns. Do not listen only for information. Listen for music. English is stress-timed. This means some words are strong and some words are weak. Native speakers do not give every word equal weight. They punch the important words and reduce the smaller words. That is why English can sound fast. It is not always because people are speaking at impossible speed. It is because they are reducing and connecting words. When someone says, "What are you going to do about it?" it may sound like, "What are you going to do about it?" When someone says, "I have got to go," it may sound like, "I've got to go." When someone says, "Do you want to come with us?" it may sound like, "Do you want to come with us?" You do not need to copy every informal pronunciation perfectly, but you must understand that real English is not spoken like separate textbook words. The sound-first method has 3 stages. First, listen without reading. Second, listen while reading. Third, repeat without reading. In the first stage, listen without reading. Choose a short piece of English, maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute. It should be natural, clear, and useful. Do not choose something too hard. Do not choose a movie scene with heavy slang if you are not ready. Choose something you can understand at least 70%. Listen without looking at the text. Your goal is not to catch every word. Your goal is to feel the sound. Notice the rhythm. Notice the emotion. Notice where the speaker slows down. In the second stage, listen while reading. Now look at the transcript. Connect the sound with the words. You will notice something important. Some words you know on paper disappear in speech. Some words connect. Some sounds change. This is where your listening becomes sharper. You are teaching your brain, this written word sounds like this in real life. In the third stage, repeat without reading. This is where speaking begins. Play one sentence, pause, repeat it, but do not repeat like a robot. Copy the rhythm, copy the stress, copy the emotion. If the speaker sounds surprised, you sound surprised. If the speaker sounds calm, you sound calm. If the speaker pauses, you pause. This is called deep imitation. It is one of the fastest ways to build natural speaking rhythm. Most learners repeat in a lazy way. They hear a sentence and repeat the words, but they ignore the sound. That is not enough. You must repeat the sentence as if you are borrowing the speaker's mouth for a moment. Not forever, not to lose yourself, just to train the muscle of natural English. Let us practice the idea with a simple sentence. I was going to call you, but I got busy. A learner may say every word with equal force. I was going to call you, but I got busy. A more natural rhythm is, I was going to call you, but I got busy. The stress is on call and busy. The first part moves smoothly. The pause before but creates meaning. If you train sentences like this every day, your English will slowly stop sounding stiff. The sound-first method works because your brain is an imitation machine. You learned your first language by copying sounds, not by reading grammar books. Even as an adult, imitation is still powerful, but you must do it actively. Passive listening is not enough. You need repeated listening plus mouth movement. Here is the daily drill. Choose 5 short sentences from a natural English video, podcast, or conversation. Listen to each sentence 5 times. Read it once, then repeat it 10 times. After that, close your eyes and say it without the audio. Then change one part of the sentence and make it your own. For example, the original sentence is, I was going to call you, but I got busy. Now you change it. I was going to message you, but I got busy. I was going to study, but I got tired. I was going to join the meeting, but something came up. This is how one sentence becomes a pattern. You are no longer memorizing. You are training flexibility. This is exactly how fluency grows. You hear a natural pattern. You repeat it. You feel it. You modify it. You use it in your real life. That pattern becomes yours. Do not underestimate small sentences. Many learners chase big lessons and ignore the basic sentences they actually need every day. Native fluency is built from common patterns used smoothly. I was about to say that. That makes sense. I did not expect that. I know what you mean. I am not sure how to explain it. Let me think for a second. It depends on what you are trying to do. These sentences are gold. They help you survive real conversations. Another powerful part of sound-first learning is pronunciation through phrases, not single words. Many learners practice pronunciation word by word. They say comfortable, important, opportunity, actually. That helps, but real speech happens in phrases. A word can sound different depending on what comes before and after it. Practice the phrase, I am comfortable with that. This is really important to me. I did not want to miss the opportunity. Actually, I was thinking the same thing. Now you are training pronunciation inside real speaking. You also need to record yourself. This may feel uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Your voice sounds different in your head. When you record yourself, you hear the truth. Do not use recording to insult yourself. Use it to diagnose. Are you too flat? Are you stressing the wrong words? Are you pausing in strange places? Are you pronouncing every word separately? Are you speaking too softly? Are you rushing because you are nervous? Recording gives you feedback that your feelings cannot give. Here is a simple recording test. Choose a short native sentence. Listen to it. Repeat it. Record yourself. Then compare. Do not compare your accent harshly. Compare rhythm. Did you pause in the same place? Did you stress the same words? Did your voice rise and fall? If not, repeat. This is how musicians practice. This is how actors practice. This is how speakers improve. You must also stop being obsessed with eliminating your accent completely. Accent is not the enemy. Unclear pronunciation and unnatural rhythm are the enemy. Many people speak English with an accent and still sound excellent because their rhythm is clear, their stress is natural, and their sentences flow. Do not waste your life trying to erase every trace of where you come from. That is insecurity, not fluency. Focus on clarity, rhythm, and confidence. Sound-first learning will also improve your listening. When you repeat real speech, you begin to understand real speech faster. Your brain recognizes connected sounds. You stop saying, native speakers speak too fast. You begin to realize, they are using patterns I have trained before. This is why speaking and listening improve together. The mouth teaches the ear teaches the mouth. The secret is consistency. 10 minutes a day of deep imitation is better than 2 hours of lazy listening once a week. You do not need a complicated plan. You need daily contact with real sound. Every day, your mouth should touch English. Not only your eyes, not only your brain, your mouth. Because English fluency is not stored only in memory, it is stored in muscle. Your tongue, lips, jaw, breath, and voice must learn the movements. At first, English may feel heavy in your mouth. Certain sounds feel strange, certain combinations feel difficult. That is normal. Your mouth is learning a new physical skill. Repeat until it becomes lighter. If you do this for weeks, you will notice something. You will start saying phrases without planning them. A sentence you repeated 20 times will suddenly appear in a real conversation. You will respond faster, your pronunciation will become smoother, your confidence will rise because your mouth has already practiced the path. This is the sound first method. Hear it, feel it, repeat it, record it, change it, use it. That is how English moves from the page into your voice. Chapter 3. Stop translating and start thinking in English patterns. Translation is one of the biggest reasons learners speak slowly. It feels helpful in the beginning, but after a certain point, it becomes a cage. You have an idea in your language, then you try to move it into English, but the structure is different, the expression is different, the order is different, sometimes the cultural meaning is different, so your sentence becomes heavy. You are not speaking English. You are carrying your first language into English word by word. This is why many learners say sentences that are understandable but unnatural. They are translating directly. They say, "I am having 30 years," because their language uses that structure. In English, we say, "I am 30 years old." They say, "Discuss about this topic," because it sounds logical, but in English we usually say, "Discuss this topic." They say, "I will give exam," because it matches their language, but natural English is, "I will take an exam." The problem is not intelligence, the problem is pattern transfer. You cannot become fast in English if every sentence must pass through another language first. Imagine trying to drive a car while translating every road sign into another language before reacting. You would be slow and stressed. Speaking works the same way. Real conversation needs speed. Not crazy speed, but enough speed to respond naturally. If translation is always in the middle, your speaking will feel delayed. The solution is not to force yourself to think in perfect English all day. That advice is too vague. Many teachers say, "Think in English," but learners ask, "How?" The answer is patterns. You do not start thinking in English by translating big thoughts. You start by storing common English patterns for common situations. For example, when you want to give an opinion, you need patterns. I think the main problem is this. In my opinion, it depends on the situation. To be honest, I see it differently. I understand your point, but I do not fully agree. These are opinion patterns. When you want to explain a problem, you need patterns. The problem is that I do not have enough time. The problem is not the idea, it is the execution. What I am struggling with is consistency. The hardest part for me is staying focused. These are problem patterns. When you want to tell a story, you need patterns. A few days ago, something interesting happened. At first, I did not think much of it. Then I realized something was wrong. After that, everything changed. In the end, I learned an important lesson. These are story patterns. When you have patterns, you do not translate from zero. You choose a pattern and put your meaning inside it. This is how fluent speakers speak. They are not inventing completely new structures every time. They are reusing familiar shapes. Let us take one thought. My English is improving, but I still feel nervous when I speak. A translating learner may struggle to build this sentence. A pattern learner already knows, I am getting better at English, but I still feel nervous when I speak. This pattern can become many sentences. I am getting better at listening, but I still struggle with fast conversations. I am getting better at pronunciation, but I still need more practice. I am getting better at speaking, but I still pause too much. This is the pattern method. One sentence becomes a family of sentences. Start with sentence frames. A sentence frame is a structure you can reuse. For example, I used to, but now I. I used to translate everything, but now I try to think in English patterns. I used to avoid speaking, but now I practice every day. I used to worry about mistakes, but now I focus on communication. This one frame helps you talk about change. Another frame, the more I. The more I practice, the more confident I become. The more I listen, the more natural English sounds. The more I repeat, the faster my mouth reacts. This frame helps you express cause and growth. Another frame, it is not that, it is that. It is not that I do not know English, it is that I cannot access it quickly. It is not that grammar is useless, it is that grammar alone does not create fluency. It is not that I am bad at speaking, it is that I have not trained speaking enough. This frame sounds natural and powerful. You can build a speaking library with these frames. Do not collect thousands. Start with 50 strong frames. Practice them until they become automatic. Use them in your real life. When you watch a video, pause and respond using a frame. When you read a comment, answer using a frame. When you think about your day, describe it using a frame. Your brain will begin to reach for English directly. Another way to stop translating is to simplify your thoughts before speaking. Many learners try to express complicated ideas in English exactly as they think them in their first language. That creates pressure. Native speakers simplify too. They do not always speak in perfect, complete, beautiful sentences. They say one idea, then another, then explain. You can do the same. Instead of thinking, I would like to express the fact that my current routine is preventing me from making consistent progress, say, my routine is not helping me. I need a better system. I start strong, but I stop after a few days. That is the real problem. This sounds more natural because spoken English often moves in short, clear idea units. Do not confuse simple with weak. Simple is powerful. Broken English is not simple. Broken English is unclear. Simple English is clear, natural, and controlled. A fluent speaker can explain a big idea with simple words. A weak speaker hides behind difficult words and still sounds confused. To think in English, you must also create English labels for your daily life. When you wake up, say in your mind, I need to get up. I have to check my schedule. I should drink some water. I need to get ready. I am running late. I have a lot to do today. These are small thoughts, but they train direct English thinking. You are not translating a deep philosophy. You are naming your real life in English. Throughout the day, describe what you are doing. I am making tea. I am replying to a message. I am looking for my keys. I need to finish this work. I should not waste time. I am getting distracted. I need to focus. This may sound too easy, but easy repetition creates automatic fluency. You cannot think in English about complex topics if you cannot think in English about simple daily actions. Then move to opinion thinking. Choose one topic a day and speak your thoughts for 2 minutes. For example, social media, discipline, money, family, education, health, confidence, learning English. Do not write first. Speak. Use patterns. I think the main problem with social media is that it steals attention. It is not that social media is always bad. It is that most people use it without control. The more time people spend scrolling, the harder it becomes to focus. Notice how the sentence frames help you speak without translating. You need to train fast retrieval. Translation is slow because you search for everything. Pattern thinking is faster because you have ready paths. At first, you may still translate. That is normal, do not panic. Your brain has used translation for years. You are building a new route. The old route will not disappear in one day. But every time you use an English pattern directly, the new route becomes stronger. One practical method is the no translation answer drill. Ask yourself simple questions and answer immediately in English. What did I do yesterday? What am I doing today? What do I need to improve? What is one thing I learned recently? What is something I disagree with? What is a problem I solved? Give yourself only 3 seconds to start. You do not need a perfect answer. You just need to begin in English. This trains your brain to move forward instead of waiting for translation. Your first sentence can be simple. Let me think. Well, I would say, the main thing is, to be honest, I am not completely sure, but... These starter phrases give your brain time while keeping you in English. Native speakers use them too. They do not answer perfectly every time. They use fillers and starters naturally. The problem is not using fillers. The problem is using only fillers and never reaching the point. Use them as bridges, not hiding places. Another important rule is this: never translate idioms directly. Every language has expressions that do not move well into English. If you translate them word by word, they may sound strange. Instead, learn the English equivalent or explain the meaning simply. If your language has an expression meaning someone is pretending, you can say, "He is not being honest. He is just pretending. He is trying to look innocent." Simple explanation is better than a strange direct translation. You also need to stop asking, "How do I say this exact sentence from my language in English?" Sometimes there is no exact match. Ask instead, "What would a natural English speaker say in this situation?" That question changes everything. English is not your language wearing different clothes. English has its own habits. Respect those habits. For example, in some languages, people say, "My head is eating me," or "My mind is not working," or "My heart became small." In English, the natural meaning may be, "I am stressed. I cannot think clearly. I feel discouraged." If you chase exact translation, you sound unnatural. If you chase natural meaning, you become fluent. The pattern method also improves grammar without boring memorization. When you repeat correct patterns many times, grammar becomes a feeling. You do not need to think present perfect, past participle, experience. You simply know, "I have never tried that before. I have been working on it for a while. I have already finished it." The grammar is inside the pattern. This is how native speakers often use grammar. They may not know the rule name, but they know the sentence feels right. You can develop that feeling through repeated exposure and speaking practice. Grammar study still helps, but grammar should support speaking, not replace it. Your mission for the next few weeks is to collect and master patterns, not random words. Take common situations in your life and prepare language for them. Introducing yourself, explaining your work, talking about your goals, describing a problem, giving an opinion, disagreeing politely, asking for clarification, telling a short story, making a request, ending a conversation. These situations repeat. If you master the patterns, your speaking becomes smoother very quickly. Here are examples. When introducing yourself, "I am currently working on improving my English because I want to communicate more confidently. I have been learning for a while, but speaking is the part I want to strengthen the most." When explaining a problem, the main issue is that I understand English when I hear it, but I struggle to respond quickly. I think I need more speaking practice, not just more study. When giving an opinion, I think consistency matters more than motivation, because motivation changes, but a routine keeps you moving. When asking for clarification, "Could you explain that in a simpler way? I understand the general idea, but I am not sure about the last part." When buying time, "That is a good question. Let me think for a second." I would say it depends on the situation. These are not fancy, they are useful. Useful beats fancy every time. Stop translating does not mean you never use your first language again. Your first language is not your enemy. But if you want to speak English fluently, English must become a direct path, not a second step. Build patterns, repeat them, use them, modify them, let them become automatic. The day you stop translating every sentence is the day English starts feeling lighter in your mouth. Chapter 4. The chunk method that makes you speak faster without memorizing scripts. A word is useful. A chunk is powerful. A chunk is a group of words that usually go together and can be used as one unit. For example, "I do not know" is a chunk. "At the end of the day" is a chunk. "The thing is" a chunk. "I was wondering if" is a chunk. "It depends on" is a chunk. "I am looking forward to" is a chunk. These pieces of language are the building blocks of fluent speech. Native speakers use chunks constantly. They do not think about each word separately. When they say, "I was wondering if you could help me with something," they are not building every word from zero. That phrase is stored as a familiar pattern. This is why they speak fast and smoothly. Their brain works with groups, not individual bricks. Many learners memorize words like improve, confidence, opportunity, difficult, situation, but they do not know the common chunks around them. So when they speak, they struggle. They know improve, but not improve my speaking, improve over time, improve little by little, improve the way I communicate. They know confidence, but not build confidence, lose confidence, speak with confidence. Confidence comes from practice. They know opportunity, but not miss an opportunity, take advantage of an opportunity, create opportunities, a great opportunity to learn. A word without chunks is weak. A word inside chunks becomes usable. This is why some learners know many advanced words, but still speak badly. Their vocabulary is not connected. It is like having expensive furniture with no house. Chunks create the house. The chunk method is simple. Every time you learn a new word, learn 3 natural phrases with it. Do not write only the word. Write how native speakers actually use it. For example, the word struggle. Do not just memorize struggle means difficulty. Learn chunks. I struggle with pronunciation. I struggle to speak under pressure. The biggest struggle for me is consistency. Now you can use the word in real speaking. The word depends. Learn chunks. It depends on the situation. It depends on what you want. It really depends. That depends. Now you can respond naturally. The word realize. Learn chunks. I realized something important. I did not realize how hard it was. I realized that I needed more practice. Now the word is alive. This is how vocabulary becomes speaking power. There are several types of chunks you need. The first type is starter chunks. These help you begin speaking. Many learners freeze because they do not know how to start. They have ideas, but the first sentence feels hard. Starter chunks solve this problem. To be honest, I think, the way I see it, from my experience, I would say that the main thing is, what I have noticed is, I am not sure, but I think, these phrases open the door. If someone asks, why do you want to improve your English? You can start with, to be honest, I want to improve my English because I want to express myself more clearly. If someone asks, what do you think about online learning? You can start with, the way I see it, online learning is useful, but only if you are disciplined. You are no longer stuck at the beginning. The second type is connector chunks. These help your ideas flow. Broken English often sounds broken because ideas are not connected. Learners say one sentence, stop, then another sentence, stop. Connectors create movement, on top of that, at the same time. The problem is, that is why, for example, in other words, as a result. The truth is, the good thing is, the difficult part is, these chunks make your speech sound organized. For example, I want to speak English fluently. The problem is, I do not practice enough. At the same time, I know I can improve if I follow a system. That is why I am trying to speak every day. This sounds much better than separate broken sentences. The third type is reaction chunks. Conversations are not speeches, you need to react. Really? That is interesting. I did not know that. That makes sense. I see what you mean. I never thought about it that way. Exactly. Not necessarily. I agree to some extent. I am not sure about that. These chunks make you sound alive in conversation. Without them, you may understand everything, but remain silent. Many learners fail in conversation because they wait for a big, perfect answer. But fluent speakers use small reactions constantly. If someone tells you a story, you do not need to give a lecture. You can say, really? What happened next? That must have been difficult, I can imagine. That is crazy. These small chunks keep the conversation moving. The fourth type is repair chunks. These help you survive when you make a mistake, forget a word, or need time. Fluent speakers also repair their speech. They say, what I mean is... Let me say that again. I mean, how can I explain this? I forgot the exact word, but... What I am trying to say is, these chunks are extremely important because they stop panic. When a learner forgets a word, they often freeze completely. A fluent speaker explains around the missing word. Suppose you forget the word appointment. You can say, I have a meeting with the doctor. I forgot the word. But you know, a fixed time to see someone. That is communication. You do not need to stop because one word is missing. The fifth type is opinion chunks. These help you sound confident. I strongly believe that. I do not completely agree with that. I see both sides. It depends on the situation. In my experience, I think people often forget that. One thing we should consider is, these phrases help you express thoughts clearly. The sixth type is storytelling chunks. If you can tell stories, your fluency will grow fast. Stories force you to use time, sequence, emotion, and detail. Useful chunks include a few days ago, at first, after a while, suddenly. The strange thing was, I did not expect it. Later on, in the end, looking back, the lesson I learned was, with these chunks you can tell almost any simple story. The seventh type is softening chunks. English conversation often uses softeners to sound polite and natural. Instead of saying, you are wrong, say, I see your point, but I think there may be another way to look at it. Instead of saying, give me this, say, could you send me this when you get a chance? Instead of saying, I do not like your idea, say, I am not sure that would work in this situation. These chunks protect relationships. Now, how do you practice chunks? First, create a chunk notebook, but do not make it a graveyard. Many learners write notes and never use them again. That is useless. Your chunk notebook must be active. Divide it by situation, not by grammar. Do not create sections like nouns, verbs, adjectives. Create sections like speaking about myself, giving opinions, explaining problems, telling stories, work conversations, daily life, asking questions, disagreeing politely. Second, repeat chunks out loud. Silent reading is not enough. Your mouth must know them. Say each chunk 10 times, then use it in 5 different sentences. For example, the chunk, the main reason is that I do not practice enough. The main reason is that I get nervous. The main reason is that I translate too much. The main reason is that I do not have a clear routine. The main reason is that I need more exposure. Third, combine chunks. This is where fluency begins. Take a starter chunk, a connector chunk, and an opinion chunk. For example, to be honest, I think speaking is difficult because most learners do not practice enough. At the same time, I believe anyone can improve if they train every day. This is a fluent answer built from chunks. Fourth, personalize chunks. A chunk becomes powerful when it connects to your life. Do not only repeat random sentences. Use your real problems, goals, work, family, studies, and opinions. If you are learning English for work, practice work chunks. If you are learning for travel, practice travel chunks. If you are learning for interviews, practice interview chunks. Fluency grows faster when the language is relevant. Fifth, use spaced repetition. Do not practice a chunk once and forget it. Review it tomorrow, after 3 days, after 1 week, and after 2 weeks. Each time, use it in a new sentence. Repetition is not childish. Repetition is how automatic speaking is built. Here is a full chunk practice example. Chunk, I find it hard to. Repeat, I find it hard to. I find it hard to. I find it hard to. Now personalize. I find it hard to speak when people are watching me. I find it hard to understand fast English. I find it hard to stay consistent. I find it hard to remember words during conversation. I find it hard to express emotions in English. Now expand. To be honest, I find it hard to speak when people are watching me because I start worrying about mistakes. The strange thing is, when I am alone, I can speak much better. That is why I need to practice speaking under pressure. This is how one chunk becomes a full answer. Another example. Chunk, what I mean is, sentences. What I mean is, I need more practice. What I mean is, grammar is not my biggest problem. What I mean is, I understand English, but I cannot respond quickly. What I mean is, I want to sound more natural. Expanded answer. I do not think my English is completely bad. What I mean is, I can understand a lot, but when I speak, I become slow. The main problem is not vocabulary. The main problem is that I have not trained my speaking reflex. This sounds clear, natural, and confident. You should also practice chunk replacement. Take one basic sentence and upgrade it using chunks. Basic. I cannot speak English. Good. Better. I cannot speak English well yet. More natural. I can understand English, but I still struggle to speak confidently. Even better. I understand English much better than I speak it, and my main struggle is responding quickly in real conversations. Notice how the final sentence uses chunks. Much better than. My main struggle is responding quickly, real conversations. This is native-like fluency, not because the words are difficult, but because the sentence is shaped naturally. Do not memorize entire scripts for conversation. That is dangerous. If the conversation changes, you freeze. Memorize flexible chunks instead. Chunks give you structure without locking you into one answer. They are like Lego pieces. You can build many things from the same pieces. The more chunks you master, the less you translate. The less you translate, the faster you speak. The faster you speak with control, the more confident you feel. The more confident you feel, the more you practice. This creates momentum. Your English is not broken because you lack words. It is broken because your words are alone. Connect them into chunks and your speaking will start moving like real English. Chapter 5. Shadowing with emotion. So your English stops sounding. Robotic shadowing is one of the most powerful speaking exercises, but most learners do it badly. They play English audio and repeat it. That is fine, but it is not enough. If you repeat without emotion, without rhythm, without attention, you are only copying words. You are not training fluency. Real shadowing means you speak with the speaker, or immediately after the speaker, while copying pronunciation, rhythm, stress, pauses, and emotion. It is not just a language exercise. It is performance training. You are training your mouth to move like natural English. You are training your voice to rise and fall. You are training your brain to process English faster. You are training yourself to stop sounding like a textbook. Many learners sound robotic because they speak in flat sentences. Every word has the same energy. Their voice does not move. They may have correct grammar, but the listener feels no life in the speech. Native speakers use emotion, even in simple sentences. They sound interested, surprised, serious, curious, doubtful, excited, calm, or concerned. Emotion gives English shape. Take the sentence, I did not expect that. If you say it flat, it sounds dead, but with emotion, it changes. I did not expect that. Maybe you are surprised. I did not expect that. Maybe you are disappointed. I did not expect that. Maybe you are impressed. Same words, different meaning. This is why emotion matters. If you want to sound natural, you must stop speaking like you are reading from a grammar book. English is not only correct words. English is voice movement. The emotional shadowing method has 4 steps. Step 1. Choose the right audio. Do not choose random difficult content. Choose a speaker with clear, natural English. The topic should be useful for you. The speed should challenge you but not destroy you. 30 seconds is enough. 1 minute is enough. You do not need a long video. You need deep practice. Step 2. Listen for emotion before repeating. Ask yourself, what is the speaker feeling? Are they serious, encouraging, angry, calm, confused, excited? Do not repeat yet. Just observe. Most learners miss this. They focus only on words, but emotion controls rhythm. Step 3. Repeat with exaggeration. At first, exaggerate the stress and emotion slightly. If the speaker says, "That is exactly what I mean," you say it with energy. "That is exactly what I mean." If the speaker says, "I am not sure that is a good idea," you sound doubtful. "I am not sure that is a good idea." Exaggeration helps your voice break out of flatness. Later, you can make it more natural. Step 4. Personalize the sentence. After shadowing, create your own similar sentence with the same rhythm. That is exactly what I mean becomes, that is exactly what I was trying to say. I am not sure that is a good idea. Becomes, I am not sure that is the right approach. Now you are not only copying, you are building your own speaking ability. Shadowing should be active and physical. Stand up if possible. Breathe properly. Open your mouth. Move your face. Many learners mumble because they are afraid of hearing their own voice. That fear will keep your English small. You cannot whisper your way to fluency. Speak clearly. Train your voice. Another reason shadowing works is that it removes overthinking. When you shadow, you do not have time to translate. You must follow the sound. This trains direct processing. At first, it feels difficult. You may fall behind. You may miss words. That is normal. Slow the audio if needed. Practice the same line again and again. Fluency is not built by touching many sentences lightly. It is built by mastering useful sentences deeply. Here is a shadowing example. Sentence. I used to think fluency meant knowing advanced words, but now I realize it is more about speaking naturally. First, listen. Notice the rhythm. I used to think fluency meant knowing advanced words, but now I realize it is more about speaking naturally. Now repeat in pieces. I used to think fluency meant knowing advanced words, but now I realize it is more about speaking naturally. Now repeat as one sentence. I used to think fluency meant knowing advanced words, but now I realize it is more about speaking naturally. Now personalize. I used to think confidence meant never making mistakes, but now I realize it is more about speaking even when I am nervous. This is powerful. You have learned a sentence shape and made it yours. Emotion also helps memory. You remember sentences better when you feel them. A boring sentence disappears. An emotional sentence sticks. That is why songs are easy to remember. That is why movie lines stay in your mind. Emotion creates hooks in memory. So when you practice English, do not be dead inside. Feel the sentence. If the sentence is about frustration, sound frustrated. If the sentence is about hope, sound hopeful. If the sentence is about confidence, sound confident. This may feel strange at first, especially if you are shy. Good. That means you are training something new. Speaking a language is not only intellectual, it is social, emotional, and physical. You should also shadow different emotions using the same sentence. Take the sentence, I cannot believe you said that. Say it surprised. I cannot believe you said that. Say it angry. I cannot believe you said that. Say it amused. I cannot believe you said that. Say it disappointed. I cannot believe you said that. Now you are learning how tone changes meaning. This matters in real conversations. Sometimes learners sound rude not because their words are rude, but because their tone is too flat or too direct. For example, saying, "What do you want?" can sound aggressive, but with a softer tone, it can sound normal. Saying, "I do not understand," can sound cold. Saying, "Sorry, I do not fully understand. Could you explain that again?" sounds polite. Tone changes everything. Shadowing can also fix your speed. Many learners speak too slowly because they pause after every word. Others speak too fast because they are nervous and want to finish quickly. Shadowing teaches natural pacing. You hear where fluent speakers pause. They do not pause randomly. They pause after meaning groups. For example, I wanted to tell you earlier, but I did not get the chance. The pause is after earlier. That is a meaning group. Practice pausing in meaning groups. Do not say, I wanted to tell you earlier, but I did not get the chance. That sounds broken. Say, I wanted to tell you earlier, but I did not get the chance. Smooth, clear, natural. Your voice should also go down at the end of confident statements. Many learners raise their voice at the end of every sentence because they are unsure. This can make them sound nervous. For example, I think this is a good idea. It sounds like a question. Say it with a falling tone. I think this is a good idea. That sounds more confident. Shadowing helps you hear this. Another useful technique is delayed shadowing. Listen to one full sentence. Wait 1 second. Repeat it from memory. This trains listening, memory, and speaking together. It is harder than normal repetition, but very effective. Start with short sentences. I did not know what to say. Wait. Repeat. I did not know what to say. Then longer. I did not know what to say because the question caught me off guard. Wait. Repeat. Delayed shadowing forces your brain to hold English as a sound pattern, not translate word by word. This is very close to real conversation. Someone speaks. You understand. You respond. Your brain must hold meaning and language quickly. You can also do silent shadowing in public. If you are on a bus or in a place where you cannot speak loudly, listen and move your mouth quietly. This is not as strong as speaking out loud, but it still trains movement. Later, repeat loudly when you are alone, but do not hide behind silent practice forever. Fluency needs voice. Your mouth must become comfortable producing English sound. Record yourself once a week with the same paragraph. In week 1, you may sound stiff. In week 2, smoother. In week 3, more confident. Progress becomes visible when you track it. Here is the brutal truth. If you feel embarrassed hearing your own English, that is exactly why you need to record it. Avoiding your voice will not improve it. Listening to it carefully will. Do not judge like an enemy. Analyze like a coach. Where is the rhythm weak? Which words are unclear? Which sounds are too flat? Which pauses are unnatural? Then practice again. Shadowing with emotion also makes you more expressive. Many learners can say facts, but cannot express personality. They sound like they are giving answers in an exam. But real conversation needs personality. You need to show interest, humor, seriousness, disagreement, curiosity, and warmth. Emotion shadowing gives you that range. The goal is not to become an actor. The goal is to sound human. Do this daily for 15 minutes. Choose one short clip. Listen 3 times. Shadow sentence by sentence. Repeat with emotion. Record 1 attempt. Personalize 3 sentences. Use 1 sentence later in your own speaking practice. That is enough. Done daily, it changes everything. Remember, native-like fluency is not only what you say, it is how your voice carries it. Rhythm, stress, pauses, and emotion can make simple English sound powerful. Without them, even correct English sounds lifeless. So from now on, do not just learn English. Perform it, feel it, speak it with breath, rhythm, and emotion. Your English will stop sounding robotic when your voice starts sounding alive. Chapter 6. The 3-second answer drill that removes freezing. Freezing is one of the most painful problems in English speaking. Someone asks you a question, you understand it, you even know the answer in your language, but your English does not start. Your mind becomes blank, your face feels hot. You smile nervously, you say, actually, maybe, and then nothing comes. Later, when you are alone, the perfect answer appears. You think, why did I not say that at the time? The answer is simple. You have not trained under time pressure. Most learners practice English in a comfortable way. They read slowly, they write carefully, they pause videos, they check dictionaries, they prepare answers. That is useful for learning, but real conversation does not wait for perfect preparation. Real conversation gives you a question and expects a response. You need a speaking reflex. The 3-second answer drill trains that reflex. The rule is simple. When you hear or ask yourself a question, you must begin answering in English within 3 seconds. Your first sentence does not need to be perfect. It only needs to start. Starting is the skill. Why 3 seconds? Because if you wait too long, your translation habit takes over. Your brain starts searching for perfect grammar. Fear enters. You begin editing before speaking. 3 seconds forces you to move. It teaches your brain that English speaking is action, not endless preparation. This drill does not mean you must give a complete answer in 3 seconds. It means you must start. You can start with a thinking phrase. That is a good question. Let me think for a second. I would say, to be honest, I am not completely sure, but, from my experience, the main thing is. These phrases are not cheating. Native speakers use them. They give you time while keeping the conversation alive. For example, someone asks, "What is the biggest challenge in learning English?" Instead of freezing, you start, "To be honest, the biggest challenge is speaking under pressure." Now you are moving. You can continue, "I can understand English, but when I need to respond quickly, I start overthinking. That is why I am trying to practice every day." The first sentence opens the road. Without it, you stay stuck. Start with easy questions. What did you eat today? What time did you wake up? What are you doing later? What kind of music do you like? What is your favorite place in your city? These questions may seem basic, but the goal is speed, not difficulty. You are training your mouth to start quickly, then move to medium questions. Why do you want to improve your English? What is one habit you want to change? Do you think social media is useful? What makes a good friend? What is more important, talent or discipline? Now you must express opinions. Then move to difficult questions. What is one mistake that taught you something important? How do you handle pressure? What does success mean to you? Do you think people are becoming more isolated? What is one belief you changed recently? These questions train deeper speaking. The drill works best when you use a timer. Give yourself 3 seconds to start and 1 minute to answer. Do not stop because of mistakes. Do not restart every sentence. Keep going. If you forget a word, explain around it. If grammar breaks, continue. The goal is fluency under pressure. Many learners have a perfection habit. They start a sentence, hear a mistake, stop, correct, restart, stop again, correct again. This destroys flow. In real conversation, constant restarting is worse than small mistakes. If your meaning is clear, keep moving. You can improve accuracy later. During fluency practice, movement matters. There are 2 types of practice: fluency practice and accuracy practice. Do not mix them all the time. Fluency practice means speak freely, keep going, do not stop for every mistake. Accuracy practice means slow down, correct sentences, study grammar, improve precision. Both are useful, but if you try to be perfectly accurate during fluency training, you will freeze. During the 3-second drill, your rule is no stopping. If you make a mistake, repair naturally. For example, you say, "Yesterday I go." Then you correct smoothly, "Yesterday I went to the market." Do not panic. Do not apologize for every mistake. Just repair and continue. Fluent speakers repair themselves too. They say, "I go. I mean, I went. It is normal." Another rule is, answer in layers. Do not try to give a perfect full answer immediately. Use layers. First, give the main answer. Second, explain why. Third, give an example. Fourth, finish with a conclusion. Question: do you think English is difficult? Layer 1. Yes, I think English can be difficult. Layer 2. The main reason is that listening and speaking are very different from reading. Layer 3. For example, I can understand a sentence when I see it, but when someone says it quickly, I sometimes miss it. Layer 4. So I think English is not impossible, but it needs the right kind of practice. This structure helps you speak longer without getting lost. Main answer, reason, example, conclusion. You can use it for almost any topic. Question: what makes someone confident? Main answer: I think confidence comes from repeated action. Reason: when you do something many times, your brain stops treating it like a danger. Example: for example, if I speak English every day, even for 5 minutes, I slowly feel less afraid. Conclusion: so confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you build through practice. This is clear and natural. You do not need advanced vocabulary. You need structure. The 3-second drill also reveals your weak areas. If you cannot answer simple daily questions, you need daily life vocabulary. If you cannot tell stories, you need past tense patterns and sequence chunks. If you cannot give opinions, you need opinion frames. If you cannot explain reasons, you need because. That is why. The main reason is, one example is, your struggle gives you a map. Do not practice only in your head. Speak out loud. Thinking in English is useful, but speaking requires sound. Your mouth must move under pressure. If you cannot find a partner, use self-questioning. Write 50 questions on paper. Pick randomly. Start within 3 seconds. Record your answer. This is enough to train. You can also use videos. Pause after someone asks a question or makes a point. Respond immediately. Do not only consume content, talk back to it. If you watch a video about discipline, pause and say, "I agree with this," because discipline makes progress predictable. But I also think people need an environment that supports discipline. Now you are using English actively. Another version is the objection drill. Take any statement and respond. Statement: learning English is easy. Start within 3 seconds. I do not fully agree with that. I think English is simple in some areas, but speaking naturally takes time. Statement: grammar is the most important part of English. Start: I think grammar is important, but it is not enough. A person can know grammar and still be unable to speak. This drill trains spontaneous thinking. You should also practice answer starters until they become automatic. For opinions, I think, I would say, in my opinion, the way I see it, from my experience. For uncertainty, I am not completely sure, but, it is hard to say, but, I have mixed feelings about that. For agreement, I agree with that because, that makes sense to me. I see your point. For disagreement, I see your point, but, I do not fully agree. I look at it a little differently. For example, a good example is, let me give you an example. For conclusions, so that is why, in the end, that is the main reason. That is how I see it. These starters are like keys. They unlock your speech. One important warning: do not overuse memorized starters without saying anything real. Some learners say, actually, basically, honestly, in my opinion, according to me, and still do not answer. That is empty fluency. Your starter must lead to meaning. Say the point. The 3-second drill also builds emotional strength. You are training yourself not to panic. Every time you begin quickly, you prove to your brain that speaking English is survivable. You may make mistakes, but nothing terrible happens. This reduces fear. Confidence is not built by telling yourself, "I am confident." Confidence is built by facing the speaking moment again and again until it becomes normal. You should measure progress. On day 1, record 10 answers. You may pause a lot. Good. That is your starting point. On day 7, record again. You may start faster. On day 14, your answers may become longer. On day 21, you may notice you are using chunks automatically. Progress becomes visible when you compare recordings, not feelings. Feelings are unreliable. Some days you feel fluent, some days you feel terrible. Do not trust daily emotion. Trust practice. If you are practicing every day, you are improving, even when it feels messy. Here is a complete practice round. Question: why do many learners struggle to speak English? Start within 3 seconds. To be honest, I think many learners struggle because they study English passively. They watch videos and understand the lesson, but they do not train their mouth to speak. The problem is not always vocabulary. The problem is speed and confidence. For example, a learner may know the word improve, but when someone asks a question, they cannot use it quickly. That is why speaking practice must be active. You need to answer questions, repeat chunks, and speak under pressure. This answer is strong because it starts quickly, uses clear structure, gives an example, and finishes with a point. Now imagine doing this every day for weeks. Your brain will stop treating English questions like emergencies. You will begin to respond, maybe not perfectly, but faster, then smoother, then with more confidence. That is momentum. The 3-second answer drill is uncomfortable because it exposes you. Good. Comfort is not the goal. Fluency lives on the other side of repeated discomfort. If you only practice what feels easy, your speaking will stay weak under pressure. So from today, when English asks you a question, do not hide. Start, even with a simple phrase, even with imperfect grammar, even with nervous energy, start within 3 seconds. Movement beats silence. A rough answer beats a perfect answer that never leaves your mouth. Chapter 7. Speak in stories, so your English becomes natural and memorable. If you want to become fluent, learn to tell stories. Stories are one of the fastest ways to build natural English because they force your brain to connect ideas. When you tell a story, you use past tense, sequence, details, emotions, reasons, reactions, and conclusions. You do not just say isolated sentences, you create flow. Many learners practice English by answering boring questions with short answers. What is your favorite food? Pizza. Where do you live? I live in Karachi. What do you do? I work in an office. This is not enough. Real fluency needs extended speaking. You need to hold the floor for 1, 2, or 3 minutes without collapsing. Stories train that skill. A story does not need to be dramatic. You do not need a life-changing event. You can tell a story about missing the bus, meeting an old friend, making a mistake at work, learning something from a conversation, buying something, feeling nervous before a call, or trying to build a new habit. Simple life creates endless speaking practice. The basic story structure is easy. Time, situation, problem, action, result, lesson. Time. A few days ago, last week, when I was younger. Yesterday morning, recently. Situation. I was going to work. I was talking to a friend. I was trying to finish something. I was watching a video. Problem. Something went wrong. I got confused. I made a mistake. I forgot something. I felt nervous. Action. I decided to. I tried to. I asked someone. I looked for. I explained. Result. Finally. In the end. After that. Eventually. It worked. It did not work. Lesson. I realized. I learned. It taught me. Looking back. Now I understand. With these chunks, you can tell thousands of stories. For example, a few days ago, I was trying to speak English with someone online. At first, I felt confident because I had practiced that morning, but when the conversation started, I suddenly forgot simple words. I got nervous and started translating in my head. After a few seconds, I decided to slow down and use simple sentences. I told the person, "Sorry, let me explain that again." In the end, the conversation was not perfect, but I continued speaking. Looking back, I realized that confidence does not mean speaking without mistakes. It means not stopping because of mistakes. This story is not complicated, but it sounds natural. It has flow, it has emotion, it has a lesson, it trains real speaking. Storytelling also helps you stop translating, because stories move too quickly for word-by-word translation. You need patterns. At first, then, after that, eventually, in the end. These sequence chunks guide you. They are like road signs. Without them, your story becomes a pile of sentences. Many learners tell stories like this. Yesterday I go office. My boss tell me one work. I do work but mistake. Then I feel bad. Then I correct. It is understandable, but broken. A better version, yesterday I went to the office, and my boss asked me to finish an important task. I tried to complete it quickly, but I made a small mistake. At first I felt bad, but then I corrected it and learned to check my work more carefully. Notice how simple changes make it smoother. You can practice story upgrading. Take a broken story and improve it. Add time markers. Fix common verbs. Connect ideas. Add emotion. Add a lesson. This is one of the best ways to move from broken English to natural English. Let us upgrade another example. Broken. Last year I start English learning. I watch many videos but speaking not improve. Then I understand I need practice. Natural. Last year I started learning English seriously. I watched a lot of videos and I understood many lessons, but my speaking did not improve much. After a while, I realized that watching videos was not enough. I needed to practice speaking out loud every day, better. Last year, I started taking English seriously. At first, I thought watching more videos would automatically make me fluent. I understood the lessons, I learned new words, and I felt like I was improving. But when I tried to speak, I still froze. That is when I realized something important. Understanding English and speaking English are two different skills. If I wanted to speak better, I had to train my mouth, not just my memory. This is powerful. Same idea, stronger delivery. Storytelling teaches you natural grammar because you use grammar in context. Past tense becomes meaningful. You are not filling blanks in a worksheet. You are describing real life. I went, I saw, I thought, I realized, I decided, I tried, I learned. These verbs become automatic because you need them again and again. Start with personal stories. They are easier because you know the content. Every day, tell one story from your life in English. Use the same structure: time, situation, problem, action, result, lesson. Speak for 2 minutes. Record it, then listen and improve. Day 1. Tell the story badly if needed. Day 2. Tell the same story again, smoother. Day 3. Tell it again with better chunks. This repetition is not boring. It is training. Native speakers retell stories many times. Each time, the story becomes smoother. You can do the same. Do not always chase new topics. Repeating the same story helps you build fluency because you reduce the pressure of content and focus on language. The first time, you think about what happened. The second time, you think about sentence structure. The third time, you improve rhythm. The fourth time, you sound more natural. This is how fluency is built. You should build a story bank. Prepare 10 personal stories that you can tell anytime. A time you made a mistake. A time you learned something important. A time you felt nervous. A time you helped someone. A time someone helped you. A time you changed your mind. A time you failed and tried again. A time you felt proud. A time you had a difficult conversation. A time you started a new habit. These stories are useful in real conversations, interviews, speaking practice, and even content creation. If someone asks about your English journey, you have a story. If someone asks about a challenge, you have a story. If someone asks about your goals, you have a story. Stories also make your English memorable. People remember stories more than facts. If you say, practice is important, that is true but forgettable. If you say, I used to watch English videos for hours, but I still froze in conversation until I started recording myself every morning, that is memorable. The story proves the point. Another powerful exercise is the 1-minute story challenge. Choose a random word, such as mistake, travel, family, phone, money, confidence, school, work. Tell a 1-minute story connected to that word. Start within 3 seconds. Use the story structure. Do this daily. It will expand your speaking range. Example with the word mistake. A few months ago, I made a mistake while speaking English. I wanted to explain something simple, but I used the wrong word, and the other person looked confused. At first, I felt embarrassed, but then I explained it in a different way. The person understood me, and the conversation continued. That moment taught me that one mistake does not destroy communication. If you stay calm, you can fix it. This is clear, useful, and natural. You can also practice future stories. Not all stories are about the past. Talk about what you want to do. In the next few months, I want to improve my English speaking. My plan is to practice every morning for at least 15 minutes. At first, I know it will feel uncomfortable, but I want to build consistency. If I keep going, I think I will become more confident. This trains future language. Practice imaginary stories too. Imagine you are traveling, attending an interview, meeting a native speaker, handling a problem, or explaining your work. This prepares your brain for real situations. Athletes visualize performance. Speakers can do the same. When telling stories, avoid one common mistake, adding too many details. Some learners get lost because they try to mention everything. A good story is focused. Choose the main point. What happened? Why did it matter? What changed? Do not drown the listener in unnecessary information. Fluency is not talking endlessly. Fluency is guiding the listener clearly. Use signposts. At first, later. The strange thing was. The good thing was. The hardest part was. In the end. These phrases help the listener follow you. They also help you stay organized. Another important skill is emotional vocabulary. Stories need feelings. Learn common feeling chunks. I felt nervous. I felt relieved. I was confused. I was surprised. I was disappointed. I felt proud of myself. I felt under pressure. I did not know how to react. I was not expecting that. These phrases make your stories human. Without emotion, stories become dry. Yesterday I went there. I did this. Then I came back. Boring. Add feeling. Yesterday I had to speak English in front of someone, and honestly, I felt nervous at first. But after a few minutes, I became more comfortable. Now the listener cares. You should also learn lesson endings. A story feels complete when it ends with meaning. I realized that experience taught me. Since then, I have tried to. Looking back, I think, the biggest lesson was, these endings make you sound thoughtful and mature. For example, looking back, I think that mistake was actually useful because it showed me what I needed to improve. This is a strong ending. Storytelling also helps with pronunciation because you repeat common phrases naturally. A few days ago, at first, after that, I realized, in the end, these phrases become smoother each time. Your speaking gains rhythm. If you practice stories for weeks, your English will change. You will stop answering every question with one sentence. You will explain yourself better. You will connect ideas. You will sound more natural, because real people speak through stories all the time. When someone asks, "How did you learn English?" do not say, "I study English from videos." Say, "I started learning English through videos, but at first I only focused on understanding. I thought that if I watched enough lessons, speaking would come automatically, but later I realized that speaking needs direct practice. So I started repeating sentences, recording myself, and answering questions out loud. That changed everything. This answer feels fluent because it is a mini story. Remember, fluency is not only answering questions, it is carrying meaning. Stories teach you to carry meaning from beginning to end. So every day, tell one story. Make it simple. Make it real. Make it clear. Do not wait for perfect grammar. Use the structure: time, situation, problem, action, result, lesson. Over time, your broken sentences will start connecting. Your speaking will become smoother. Your confidence will grow because you will know you can speak beyond one line. If you can tell stories in English, you are no longer just surviving the language, you are living inside it. Chapter 8. Upgrade basic English into natural English without sounding fake. Many learners think native fluency means using big words. That is a mistake. Native-like English is not always advanced. It is natural. Sometimes the natural sentence is simpler than the learner's sentence. Sometimes it is shorter. Sometimes it uses a phrasal verb. Sometimes it uses a common expression. The goal is not to sound like a dictionary. The goal is to sound like a real person. Basic English is not bad. Basic English is the foundation, but if you stay at basic English forever, your speaking may sound limited. You need to upgrade it step by step, not by forcing advanced vocabulary, but by replacing stiff, translated, or unnatural sentences with smoother, everyday English. Let us begin with a common learner sentence. I am very tired because I did not sleep in night. A natural version. I am exhausted because I barely slept last night. This upgrade is not complicated. Barely slept is a natural chunk. Last night is the correct time phrase. Exhausted is stronger than very tired. Another example. I am doing job in a company. Natural. I work for a company. Or, I am working at a company right now. Another. I am learning English from 2 years. Natural. I have been learning English for 2 years. Another. I gave exam yesterday. Natural. I took an exam yesterday. These upgrades matter because they fix patterns, not just words. You should collect natural upgrades for sentences you actually use. Do not waste time memorizing rare expressions. Upgrade your daily English first. Basic. I am going to home. Natural. I am going home. Basic. I reached late. Natural. I got there late. Basic. I am not understanding. Natural. I do not understand. Or, I am not following. Basic. Please explain me. Natural. Please explain it to me. Basic. I have a doubt. Natural. I have a question. Or, I am not sure about something. Basic. Today morning. Natural. This morning. Basic. Yesterday night. Natural. Last night. Basic. I discussed about it. Natural. I discussed it. Or, we talked about it. Basic. I am weak in English. Natural. My English is not very strong yet. Or, I struggle with English speaking. Basic. I want to improve my English speaking. Natural. I want to improve my spoken English. Or, I want to speak English more confidently. These are practical upgrades. They immediately make your English sound more natural. But be careful. Do not become obsessed with sounding native in every sentence. That obsession can make you fake and anxious. Natural English is not about using slang every 5 seconds. It is not about copying expressions you do not understand. Some learners learn phrases like, "What's up, bro?" "Gonna," "wanna," "kinda," and think they sound native. But if the rest of their English is weak, it sounds forced. Use natural expressions that fit your level and situation. The best upgrade is clarity. If your sentence is clear, you are already winning. Then make it smoother. Then make it more natural. Do not jump from broken English to complicated English. Move from broken to clear, clear to smooth, smooth to natural. Here is the upgrade ladder. Level 1, broken. I know speak good English. Level 2, clear. I do not speak English well. Level 3, smooth. I can understand English, but I struggle to speak it well. Level 4, natural. I understand English much better than I speak it, and I am working on becoming more confident in conversation. This is how you improve, one level at a time. Another example. Level 1, broken. My mind not working when I speak English. Level 2, clear. My mind does not work when I speak English. Level 3, smooth. My mind goes blank when I try to speak English. Level 4, natural. I know what I want to say, but the moment I start speaking English, my mind goes blank. That final sentence sounds natural because it uses a real expression, my mind goes blank. Learn natural expressions for common speaking problems. I freeze when I speak. I lose my train of thought. I cannot find the right words. I overthink every sentence. I get nervous under pressure. I understand the question, but I struggle to answer quickly. I need to work on my fluency. I want to sound more natural. These phrases help you describe your English journey clearly. Now let us talk about phrasal verbs. Many learners fear phrasal verbs because there are too many. You do not need to learn all of them. Learn the common ones that appear in daily speech. Find out means discover. I found out about it yesterday. Figure out means understand or solve. I need to figure out how to improve my speaking. Give up means stop trying. I do not want to give up. Keep going means continue. Even if I make mistakes, I need to keep going. Come up means appear or happen. Something came up, so I could not attend. Bring up means mention. She brought up an important point. Point out means mention something important. He pointed out my mistake. Get better means improve. My English is getting better. Work on means improve through practice. I am working on my pronunciation. These phrasal verbs are useful and natural. Do not memorize them in isolation. Use them in sentences. Another area of natural English is collocation. Collocations are words that naturally go together. Native speakers say make a mistake. not do a mistake. Take a break, not make a break. Heavy rain, not strong rain. Strong coffee, not powerful coffee. Fast food, not quick food. Pay attention, not give attention. Make progress, not do progress. The more collocations you learn, the more natural your English becomes. Again, do not memorize endless lists. Learn collocations connected to your life. For English learning, make progress, build confidence, improve pronunciation, practice consistently, expand vocabulary, speak fluently, understand native speakers, overcome fear, develop a habit. For work, attend a meeting, meet a deadline, handle a task, solve a problem, make a decision, share an update, take responsibility, improve performance. For daily life, make breakfast, take a shower, catch a bus, run late, get ready, go shopping, spend time, make plans. These small combinations make a big difference. Natural English also uses contractions in speech. I am becomes I'm. I do not becomes I don't. I cannot becomes I can't. I have been becomes I've been. It is becomes it's. You do not have to use contractions in every sentence, but if you never use them, your speech may sound stiff. Compare, I do not know what it is, but I am sure it is important. Natural speech, I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's important. Smoother. However, pronunciation must be clear. Do not swallow words so much that people cannot understand you. Natural does not mean lazy, it means smooth. You also need to learn how native speakers soften strong statements. Learners often sound too direct because they translate directly. Instead of saying, your idea is bad, say, I am not sure that idea would work. Instead of saying, you did wrong, say, I think there may have been a misunderstanding. Instead of saying, send me the file, say, could you send me the file when you get a chance? This sounds more polite and professional. Softening does not mean weakness. It means social intelligence. English communication often values tone, especially in professional contexts. Another upgrade is replacing repeated words. Many learners use very too much. Very good, very bad, very big, very tired, very happy, very important. This is okay, but you can sound better with stronger words. Very tired, exhausted. Very happy, delighted, really glad. Very important, essential, really important, a big deal. Very bad, terrible. Very big, huge. Very small, tiny. Very difficult, challenging. Very easy, simple. But do not overuse fancy words. Say exhausted when you truly mean very tired. Say challenging when something is difficult in a serious way. Strong words should fit the situation. You can also upgrade weak verbs. Instead of do improvement, say improve. Instead of make discussion, say discuss or talk about. Instead of give suggestion, say suggest. Instead of take decision, say make a decision. Instead of tell a lie, say lie. Simple verb choices make English cleaner. Another natural upgrade is using I mean, actually, basically, honestly, to be fair, at the end of the day, in real life, the thing is. These discourse markers help spoken English flow, but use them carefully. Too many fillers make you sound unfocused. Use them to organize thought. Example, honestly, I think the problem is not motivation. The thing is, most people do not have a system. At the end of the day, if you do not practice regularly, you cannot expect fluency. This sounds conversational. Now let us upgrade a full answer. Basic answer, I want English, because English is important for career and communication. I study daily, but speaking is difficult. I need confidence. Natural answer, I want to improve my English, because it can help me in my career and allow me to communicate with more people. I try to study every day, but speaking is still the hardest part for me. I think I need more real practice so I can build confidence and respond faster in conversations. Better answer, I am working on my English because I know it can open more opportunities for me, especially in my career. I can understand a lot, but speaking is still my biggest challenge. The main issue is that I overthink and translate too much. That is why I am focusing on daily speaking practice, not just studying more grammar. This is strong, not fake, not overly advanced, natural. Create your own upgrade practice. Every day, write or speak 5 sentences you normally say. Then upgrade them. Ask, is this clear? Is this natural? Is there a better chunk? Is there a common expression? Can I make it smoother? Then repeat the upgraded sentence out loud 10 times. This method is better than memorizing random advanced vocabulary because it improves the English you actually use. Your daily speech becomes cleaner. Your confidence grows because you can hear the difference. Remember, native fluency is not about sounding complicated. It is about sounding natural, without struggling. A native speaker can say, "I did not get much sleep, so I am a bit tired today." That is simple and natural. A learner may say, "Due to insufficient sleeping duration during the previous night, I am experiencing tiredness." That is grammatically possible, but nobody talks like that in normal life. Do not sound like a translated document. Sound like a person. The secret is to upgrade your English in the direction of natural speech, not academic decoration. Learn chunks, learn collocations, learn common phrasal verbs, learn polite softeners, learn better ways to express your real thoughts. Practice them out loud until they become automatic. Your English does not need to be bigger. It needs to be smoother. Chapter 9. Build speaking confidence by training your nervous system. Confidence is not just a mindset, it is a trained response. You can tell yourself, "I am confident," 100 times, but if your body panics every time you speak English, your confidence will collapse. Real confidence comes when your nervous system learns that speaking English is not dangerous. Many learners think they have a language problem, but part of the problem is emotional. They know the words, but fear blocks access. They understand the question, but pressure shuts down the brain. They can speak alone, but not in front of people. This means the language is there, but the nervous system does not feel safe using it. When you feel judged, your brain shifts into protection mode. It cares more about avoiding embarrassment than expressing meaning. That is why you forget simple words. That is why your mouth becomes dry. That is why your voice becomes weak. That is why you avoid eye contact. It is not because you are stupid. It is because your body is treating speaking English like a threat. You need exposure training. Exposure training means you practice speaking in small, uncomfortable situations until they become normal. You do not jump immediately into the hardest situation. You build levels. Level 1, speak alone. Level 2, record yourself. Level 3, send a short voice note to a trusted person. Level 4, speak with one learner. Level 5, speak with a better speaker. Level 6, join a group conversation. Level 7, speak in a professional or public situation. Most learners want Level 7 confidence while avoiding Level 2 practice. That is unrealistic. You cannot avoid discomfort and expect confidence. Confidence is earned through repeated exposure. Start with speaking alone, but do it seriously. Do not just mumble. Stand up and speak as if someone is listening. Answer questions, tell stories, explain your opinions, record your voice. This trains your body to produce English sound without fear. Then record yourself daily. At first, you may hate your voice. That is normal. But after a few days, the emotional shock decreases. You become familiar with your English voice. This is important. If you cannot tolerate hearing yourself, you will always feel exposed when others hear you. Recording removes that fear slowly. Next, send short voice notes. Not long speeches. 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Say, "I practiced this sentence today," or "I wanted to explain something in English," or "Here is a short answer to a question." Send it to someone safe if possible. If not, save it for yourself. The point is to make spoken English leave your private space. Then speak with other learners. Many learners are obsessed with native speakers. Native speakers are useful, but not always necessary at the beginning. Other learners understand your struggle. You can practice without extreme pressure, but do not spend all your time with learners who repeat your mistakes. Use learner practice for confidence and fluency, and native content for input and rhythm. When you speak with better speakers, focus on communication, not comparison. Some learners destroy their confidence by comparing every sentence. They think, their English is so good, mine is terrible. That thinking is useless. A better speaker is not proof that you are bad. They are proof that improvement is possible. You also need to change how you see mistakes. Mistakes are not public crimes. They are data. If you say, I am agree, and someone corrects you, now you know, I agree, good. That is progress. If you avoid speaking to avoid mistakes, you avoid feedback. Without feedback, your English stays stuck. But this does not mean you should ignore mistakes completely. That is another extreme. Some people say, just speak, mistakes do not matter. That is not fully true. Mistakes matter if they block meaning or become permanent habits. The correct approach is, speak freely during fluency practice, then review and fix repeated mistakes during accuracy practice. For example, after recording yourself, notice repeated errors. Maybe you always say, he go, instead of, he goes. Maybe you confuse since and for. Maybe you forget past tense. Choose one mistake per week to fix. Do not try to fix everything at once. That creates pressure. One correction repeated many times becomes automatic. Confidence also comes from preparation. Some learners think preparation is cheating. It is not. Native speakers prepare for important conversations too. If you need English for work, prepare common situations. If you need interviews, prepare answers. If you need travel, prepare travel phrases. If you need meetings, prepare meeting language. Preparation reduces panic because your brain has something ready. You should prepare flexible patterns, not memorize robotic scripts. For example, for meetings, I would like to add something here. Could you clarify the last point? From my side, the main update is, I think we should consider another option. I will follow up on that after the meeting. These phrases build professional confidence. Another confidence tool is controlled breathing. Before speaking, breathe lower and slower. Nervous learners often breathe from the chest. This makes the voice shaky. Take a slow breath. Relax your jaw. Start with a clear first sentence. Your body affects your voice. Your voice affects your confidence. Posture matters too. If you collapse your shoulders, look down, and whisper, your brain receives a message. I am unsafe. Stand or sit upright. Speak clearly. You do not need to be loud, but you must not hide. English needs space. Give your voice space. You should also create a mistake recovery plan. Fear becomes worse when you do not know what to do after a mistake. Prepare repair phrases. Sorry, let me say that again. What I mean is, I used the wrong word. Let me explain it another way. I forgot the exact word, but that did not come out right. These phrases are confidence tools. They prove that a mistake does not end the conversation. You can recover. Another powerful method is pressure simulation. If you only practice in relaxed conditions, real pressure will shock you. Simulate pressure at home. Set a timer. Ask random questions. Speak for 1 minute without stopping. Record yourself in one take. Do not restart. This trains performance. It teaches your body to continue even when the answer is not perfect. You can also practice with background noise, standing up, or walking. Real conversations are not always quiet and comfortable. Train flexibility, but do not make practice impossible. Increase difficulty gradually. Confidence also depends on identity. If you keep saying, my English is bad, I am weak, I cannot speak, your brain follows that identity. Be honest, but precise. Do not lie and say, I am fluent, if you are not. Say, I am training my spoken English, I can understand a lot, and I am improving my ability to respond. I still make mistakes, but I can communicate. This identity is truthful, and useful. Stop calling your English broken as a permanent label. Say, my English is developing, my speaking needs training, my fluency is improving. Labels matter because they shape behavior. A person with broken English hides. A person in training practices. You must also accept your accent. Some learners are ashamed of their accent, so they speak quietly. Speaking quietly makes pronunciation worse. Then people understand less. Then the learner feels more ashamed. This becomes a cycle. Break it. Speak clearly. Your accent is allowed. Your goal is not accentless English. Your goal is understandable, natural, confident English. There is a difference between accent and pronunciation. Accent is the flavor of your speech. Pronunciation is whether people understand the words. Keep the flavor if you want. Improve clarity. Work on sounds that change meaning. Work on word stress. Work on rhythm. But do not hate your voice. Confidence grows when you collect evidence. Every day, create small wins. I spoke for 1 minute. I recorded myself. I used 5 chunks. I answered within 3 seconds. I told a story. I corrected 1 mistake. These wins prove progress. Motivation without evidence is weak. Evidence builds belief. Do not wait until you feel confident to speak. Speak to become confident. This is the order. Action first. Confidence second. Many learners get this backwards. They say, when I become confident, I will speak. No. When you speak repeatedly, confidence comes. You should also reduce unrealistic expectations. Becoming native-like in weeks does not mean becoming indistinguishable from a native speaker in 21 days. That is fantasy. It means you can become noticeably smoother, faster, clearer, and more natural in weeks if you practice correctly. Full mastery takes time, but visible improvement can happen quickly when you stop studying passively and train actively. Be brutally honest with yourself. Are you really practicing speaking every day, or are you just watching lessons and calling it practice? Are you repeating sentences out loud, or only saving videos? Are you recording yourself, or avoiding the truth? Are you using English under pressure, or hiding until you feel ready? Your results match your training. If you want different speaking, you need different behavior. Build a daily confidence routine. 5 minutes of shadowing, 5 minutes of chunk repetition, 5 minutes of 3-second answers, 5 minutes of storytelling. That is 20 minutes. Do it daily for 3 weeks. Record on day 1, day 7, day 14, and day 21. You will hear change. Confidence is not magic. It is the result of repeated proof. Every time you speak and survive, the fear loses power. Every time you recover from a mistake, your brain learns resilience. Every time you hear your own progress, belief becomes stronger. Your nervous system does not need motivation. It needs experience. Give it the experience of speaking English again and again until English no longer feels like a threat. That is how confidence becomes real. Chapter 10. The 21-Day Speaking Momentum Plan. Now let us turn everything into a clear plan, because information without practice will not change your English. You can understand every chapter of this lesson and still speak the same if you do not train. The method only works if you use it. This is the 21-Day Speaking Momentum Plan. It is designed to take you from slow, translated, hesitant English to smoother, faster, more natural speaking. Not perfect, not magically native overnight, but noticeably better. If you follow it seriously, you will feel your English changing because you will train the exact skills that create fluency. The plan has 4 daily parts: sound, chunks, answers, and stories. Sound trains your ear and mouth. Chunks train automatic sentence patterns. Answers train speed and pressure. Stories train flow and natural expression. You will practice every day for 20 to 30 minutes. If you say you do not have time, be honest. You probably have time for scrolling, watching random videos, or wasting attention. 20 minutes is not the problem. Priority is the problem. If English matters to you, prove it with a routine. Days 1 to 3 are for awareness and reset. On day 1, record your starting point. Answer 3 questions in English. Why do I want to improve my English? What is my biggest speaking problem? What do I want to achieve in the next 21 days? Speak naturally. Do not prepare too much. Record honestly. This recording is not for judgment. It is your baseline. After recording, listen once. Write down what you notice. Do you pause too much? Do you translate? Do you repeat the same words? Is your pronunciation unclear? Is your voice too flat? Do you stop after mistakes? This is your starting map. Then choose 5 useful chunks. For example, I struggle with. The main problem is. What I mean is, I am working on. I want to get better at. Repeat each chunk 10 times and make 3 personal sentences with each. On day 2, begin sound first training. Choose a short English clip, 30 seconds to 1 minute. Listen without reading. Listen again with transcript if available. Shadow 5 sentences. Record yourself repeating them. Focus on rhythm, not perfection. Then do the 3-second answer drill with 5 easy questions. What did I do today? What am I learning right now? What is one thing I need to improve? What makes me nervous in English? What is one small goal for tomorrow? Start each answer within 3 seconds. On day 3, tell your first story. Use the structure: time, situation, problem, action, result, lesson. Topic: a time you struggled to speak English. Speak for 2 minutes, record it, do not stop. If you make mistakes, continue. Afterward, choose one part and improve it. Days 4 to 7 are for building automatic chunks. Every day, learn 10 chunks, but do not only read them, use them. Here are chunk groups for these days. For starting, to be honest, I think, the way I see it, from my experience, I would say that the main thing is, for explaining problems, the problem is that I struggle with. The hardest part is, what I find difficult is, I get stuck when, for giving reasons, the main reason is, that is because, one reason is, that is why, it usually happens when, for examples. For example, a good example is, let me give you an example, in my case, one time, for conclusions, in the end. That is the main point. So basically, that is how I see it. Looking back, each day, choose 10 chunks, repeat them, and use each in a sentence, then combine them into answers. Example: to be honest, I think the hardest part is speaking under pressure. The main reason is that I start translating in my head. For example, when someone asks me a question, I know the answer, but I cannot say it quickly. That is why I need to practice answering within 3 seconds. This is a strong answer, built from chunks. During days 4 to 7, shadow daily. Use the same clip for 2 days if needed. Master it deeply. Do not jump around too much. Repetition builds fluency. Also tell one story every day. Day 4, a time you made a mistake. Day 5, a time you learned something important. Day 6, a time you felt nervous but continued. Day 7, your English learning journey so far. At the end of day 7, record the same 3 questions from day 1. Compare. Do not expect perfection. Look for improvement. Are you starting faster? Are your sentences more connected? Are you using chunks? Is your voice more confident? Small improvement is proof that the method is working. Days 8 to 14 are for speed and natural flow. Now you increase pressure. Continue shadowing, but add delayed shadowing. Listen to a sentence, pause, repeat from memory. This trains your brain to hold English. Choose sentences that are useful. Practice the 3-second drill with medium questions. Do you think English is difficult? What is the best way to build confidence? Why do people give up on learning languages? Is grammar more important than speaking practice? What makes a person a good communicator? How can someone stop overthinking? What is one habit that changed your life? Answer each for 1 minute. Start within 3 seconds. Use the structure: answer, reason, example, conclusion. Example: I think English is difficult if you learn it the wrong way. The main reason is that many learners only study grammar and vocabulary, but they do not practice speaking. For example, I used to understand lessons, but I still froze in conversation. So I believe English becomes easier when you train it as a speaking skill, not just a school subject. This is natural, clear, and organized. During this week, upgrade your basic English. Every day, write 5 sentences you often say incorrectly or unnaturally. Then create better versions. I am weak in English becomes I struggle with spoken English, but I am improving. I cannot speak fast becomes I need to work on responding faster. My mind is blank becomes my mind goes blank when I speak under pressure. I am doing practice becomes I am practicing every day. I have fear becomes I feel nervous when I speak. Repeat the upgraded versions out loud. Use them in your answers. This will clean your speaking quickly. Also practice repair phrases. Intentionally stop in the middle and recover. What I mean is, let me say that again. I forgot the exact word, but let me explain it another way. That did not come out right. These phrases remove fear. You now know what to do when you get stuck. Days 8 to 14 also include story expansion. Your stories must now be 3 minutes. Add details, emotions, and lessons. But stay organized. Do not ramble. Use this structure. A few days ago, the problem was, I felt, then I decided to, after that, in the end. Looking back, I realized. This structure can carry almost any story. On day 14, record again. Answer the same 3 baseline questions from day 1, plus 1 story. Compare with day 1. You should hear more movement. If you do not, be honest. Did you practice daily, or only think about practicing? The plan works when done, not when admired. Days 15 to 21 are for real speaking identity. Now you must stop seeing yourself as someone preparing to speak English. You are someone who speaks English daily, maybe imperfectly, but daily. This identity matters. You are no longer waiting for permission. During this week, every practice session has 5 parts. First, 2 minutes of breathing and voice warm-up. Speak simple sentences clearly. I am training my English today. I do not need to be perfect. I need to be clear and consistent. My goal is progress, not performance. Second, 5 minutes of emotional shadowing. Choose a clip. Copy rhythm and emotion. Record 1 sentence and compare. Third, 5 minutes of chunk activation. Choose 5 chunks and create spoken answers with them. Fourth, 10 minutes of 3-second answers. Use harder questions. What is something you believe strongly? What is one lesson failure taught you? How do you handle criticism? What kind of person do you want to become? Why do most people stay stuck? What does discipline mean to you? How has learning English changed your thinking? What advice would you give to someone who is afraid to speak? Fifth, 5 minutes of storytelling or real-world speaking. Send a voice note, talk to a partner, speak to yourself, or record a short reflection. During this final week, you should also practice real conversation functions. Agreeing, I agree with you because, that makes sense, I see your point. Disagreeing, I see it differently, I understand your point, but I do not fully agree. I think there is another side to it. Clarifying, could you explain what you mean by that? I am not sure I understood the last part. Do you mean that? Buying time. Let me think for a second. That is a good question. I have never thought about it that way. Adding ideas. Another thing is, on top of that, I would also say, that is what I think. These functions make you conversational. Fluency is not only grammar, it is knowing what to do in the conversation. On day 21, record your final test. Answer these questions. Why did I start this speaking reset? What changed in my English over the last 21 days? What is still difficult for me? What method helped me the most? What will I continue doing from tomorrow? Then tell a 3-minute story about your English journey. Compare it with day 1. You will hear your progress. Maybe your grammar is still imperfect. Maybe your accent is still there. Maybe you still pause sometimes. That is normal. But you should hear more confidence, more structure, more chunks, more rhythm, and faster starts. That is speaking momentum. Now let us make the plan even simpler so you can remember it. Every day, hear natural English. Every day, repeat natural English. Every day, speak before you feel ready. Every day, use chunks. Every day, answer questions under time pressure. Every day, tell a story. Every day, record something. Every day, fix one small thing. This is the method. It is not glamorous. It is not complicated. But it works because it trains the real skill. Most learners fail because they keep searching for secrets while avoiding repetition. They want a method that feels exciting every day. Real improvement is often boring. You repeat, you record, you correct, you speak again. That is how your mouth changes. That is how your brain changes. That is how confidence changes. Do not make the mistake of watching this lesson and doing nothing. That would be another form of passive learning. You already know what passive learning produces. Understanding without speaking. If you want a different result, act differently today. After this script ends, do not just move to another video. Take your phone, record one answer. Answer this question: why do I want to speak English more fluently? Start within 3 seconds. Speak for 1 minute. Do not stop. That 1 minute is more valuable than another hour of passive watching. Your English will not transform because you learned the secret. It will transform because you practiced the secret. And the secret is this: stop studying English as information and start training English as a reflex. When English becomes a reflex, you do not search for every word. You reach for patterns. You do not panic after every mistake. You repair and continue. You do not translate every sentence. You think through English chunks. You do not sound robotic. You use rhythm and emotion. You do not answer with silence. You begin within 3 seconds. You do not hide behind fear. You speak, record, improve, and repeat. That is how broken English becomes clear English. Clear English becomes smooth English. Smooth English becomes confident English. Confident English becomes natural English. Native-like fluency is not reserved for special people. It belongs to learners who train correctly and consistently, not the learners who only dream, not the learners who only collect vocabulary, not the learners who wait until they are perfect. It belongs to the learners who speak before they are ready and keep speaking until their mouth finally catches up with their mind. So start today. Start messy. Start nervous. Start with simple sentences. Start with one chunk. Start with one story. Start with one recording. But start. Because the English you want is not waiting in another grammar rule. It is waiting in your daily practice. And once you train your brain, your mouth, your ears, and your confidence together, you will feel the shift. English will stop feeling like a wall. It will start feeling like a road. At first, you will walk slowly. Then you will move faster. Then one day, in the middle of a conversation, you will answer without translating. You will speak without freezing. You will explain your thoughts clearly. And you will realize that fluency was not something outside you. It was something you were training into existence all along. This is the speaking momentum. Keep speaking. Keep moving. Keep building the reflex. Your fluent English is not found by waiting. It is built by momentum.